connected vehicle data is basically the data that comes out of your car. So most cars today are equipped with sensors, so things like your fuel levels, your battery charging if you have an EV, your tire pressure, your GPS location, and all of those sensors transmit data through what's called a telematics control unit, which is just a fancy word for the communication channel that the data gets pumped out of the car. And so that data can be used for many, many different use cases. It can be used to help understand traffic flows and traffic congestion, intersection performance. It can be used to help flow emergency vehicles to where they need to be, so you get first responders on scene after an accident quickly and efficiently. And so there's lots of potential use cases that it can be used for, but ultimately when you're using connected vehicle data, what you're trying to do is improve things like safety, emissions, and congestion to get people through their day faster. Right now in the electric vehicle space, there's a lot of discussion around where do I place my chargers. The infrastructure that's being developed today needs to be developed to last 20 to 30 years in the future. And so there's lots of things that go into that decision making. So for example, how much power will we need 30 years from now? How can we set up our infrastructure so that we don't have to rebuild in very expensive and costly ways? Connected vehicle data can be used to help you understand where EVs are going and how they're moving through the cities, what their charging levels look like at different times of day. And so connected vehicle data with EV can tell you things like what types of chargers do you need to place? Do you need DC fast chargers or do you need level 2 chargers? How much power do you need to pull to those sites? And what times of day do you need to plan for that charging to occur? How are people charging? On the AV side, the way that AVs learn is actually through data. So as human beings, we learn how to drive by experiencing the world around us, by observing with our eyes what's going on the road. AVs actually learn, and they kind of see through data. So they experience the world through the data that they receive. In today's world, those data sets are very, very small and limited. There's a high degree of regulation on AVs currently, which means that they can only drive in cities at certain times of night where traffic isn't high, or on certain highways where they can drive. What that means is that they become really good at driving and experiencing how to drive in off hours when there's not a lot of traffic. What connected vehicle data can let them do is connected vehicle data can give those AVs access to all of those experiences that they can't experience today as a result of regulation, and help them learn faster and help them learn how to be safer faster. So there's a huge case around connected vehicle data. So when we talk about this amount of data, today, Wejo actually has access to 689 billion miles driven on roads. That's much more than you can get from just driving an AV around the road. And so it helps actually accelerate the learning of those AVs. We hope to help OEMs and DOTs use that data for good purposes. So how do they reduce emissions? How do they reduce fatalities on the road? And how do they improve the experiences of drivers as they move through cities and municipalities?